It is all about banks, governments, and big financial institutions when it comes to Flare networks, folks. And all of them are quietly accumulating FLR according to Worm226 over here. We're going to be understanding why is that via this post, as well as some other info as to why Flare is special. So look at this, the why. It has got staking plus F assets equals passive yield. Who doesn't want passive income, folks? Everyone wants passive income, something unique. And if we talk about F assets, it is one of the most unique prospects in any of the projects out there, folks. Nothing as unique as F assets because it is trying to provide smart contracts to the projects that do not have intrinsic smart contracts. And we're going to be looking at some highlights of XRP as well, because that is the ultimate utility projects according to a lot of maxis out there. Plus, it is building a global infrastructure, digital ID plus smart contracts. Why is digital ID important, folks? It is important because the enterprises want some transparency. They want some change in the world of decentralized finance as well as TradeFi. So KYC, digital ID, they are important. If we talk about oracles plus DeFi rails, it equals data plus liquidity hub. Data, as they say, is the new oil, and Flare Network is playing around with that oil, folks. And it has got its enshrined oracles, and on top of that, it is a layer one as well, folks. And the DeFi rails, let me show you over here the DeFi of Flare. Where is it? Yeah, just a moment. Check this out. The Flare TVL total value locked is exploding when it comes to the DeFi, decentralized exchange. Flare Networks is exploding, folks. This is Paul Barron over here. XRP DeFi season coming to Polygon, Flare plus Spark DEX interview. Let's check this out, relevant to the post.
And get into that. If you look at some of the activity on Flare in general, just total value locked right there, you can kind of see the explosion that is starting to happen there. So I wanted to bring on
continuously growing, folks.
Alexi coming in from SparkDex. Hey, Alexi, how are you today?
Great, thank you for having me, Paul. Excited to be here.
Excellent. So let's get into a little bit about what SparkDex is doing. Obviously, you guys are starting to move consistently up in terms of users, total volumes climbing.
Look at the analytics over here. Total users, 20,770. Total volume, this is SparkDex, $5.52 billion. Total fees, $635.69K. Total value locked equals $89.62 million, folks. I mean, this is huge, to say the least.
Total TVL is climbing. Everything's looking good here in terms of the platform itself. Give us kind of a rundown on what you guys are attempting to do.
What we're aiming to do is essentially be a one-stop DeFi hub for users, where they won't need to leave our platform to interact with a variety of different protocols and different products as well. So just being that one-stop shop. Obviously, SparkDex, we're a DEX, that's the fourth most important thing that we're doing. That's kind of the engine of any chain, to be honest. But that's not just where we're also stopping. You know, we're looking to provide perpetuals. We're looking to provide different strategies, lending markets. So have all this integrated.
Folks, let's move further ahead. Check this out. Talking about use case, talking about providing utility, something unique in the game of finance. FXRP is how XRP plugs into DeFi, staking, and yield. This is what Flare Network is doing, folks. It is providing use case for the project that is known for its use cases and utility, XRP.
You love XRP. You believe in XRP. You've been holding it since 2017. What if you could earn yield and still diamond hand it? With Flare, you can transform those coins into F assets, smart contract ready versions you can actually use in DeFi. That means earning yield, providing liquidity, or
This is Flare XRP, folks. Check this out. A unique logo over here. Awesome.
staking for rewards. No middlemen, no centralized bridges, no giving up control. Here's how it works. Pick an agent, lock up some collateral, and send XRP to the agent's address on XRPL. The minting process only takes a few minutes. The F-Asset system verifies everything and gives you shiny new FXRP, ready to plug into every DeFi protocol on the Flywheel and yield-generating chain. Want your original XRP back? No problem. Redeem anytime. Simple, secure, and trustless. Behind the scenes, a decentralized network of agents, liquidators, and challengers keeps the system running. Always over-collateralized, always on guard. Flare isn't just bridging XRP, it's building the entire financial stack around it. Learn more about what you can do with your FXRP in our next.
Folks, the use cases of Flare are growing, and indeed it is all about institutions, banks, enterprises, governments. Look at this, some technicals. This is the Elliott wave 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, then the A, B, C, D, E. And then check this out, the confluence. We've got the hidden bullish divergence. The price hasn't fallen as much as over here. Check this out. The price is indeed stabilized. You can see the trend lines over here, the support base over here, and the price is getting narrower and narrower. And from this point onward, if a breakout happens, then we can get another Elliott wave 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And as you all know, that the third one is the one with the most energy, but let's hope that the fifth one this time around can go on and kill the zero. It would be much better if the third one kills it and the fourth one goes to 15 cents or so. Hopefully, folks, hopefully it happens. Anyways, look at this, how to unlock the potential of staked collateral as a source of decentralized security. Firelight Fi is working on this solution by converting FXRP, wrapped XRP via Flare's F-Assets into STXRP. So it's so much different dimensions being opened in the world of DeFi, in the world of XRP's DeFi. So this is the XRP Fi. The future of XRP Fi is built on integrity, security, and composability, folks. Awesome. Every action on Flare flows through one asset. Flare, this is why we call FLR as the ultimate utility project, folks. The F-Asset system upgrade has begun. It is great. The upgrades are what defines a project. Now check this out, folks. This is Hugo Fillion. Thanks for having me on Jana X Crypto, and always great to talk to Santiago, I guess. So this is a long video over here, folks. This is almost 1 hour, 1 minute long, 1 hour, 1 minute, 34 seconds. I brought a piece over here where Hugo talks about the uniqueness of Flare and how it can provide something special for XRP as well. You can check this out yourselves, a huge video, interesting one. Let me like and repost this as well while we're at it. Let me bookmark this for future reference. Check this out.
And honestly, I don't have the answer to it, but what I can say is that we have a very close working relationship with the Flare team. And these are one of it's just a technical issue that we have to just figure out how to properly account for FXRP that's not in the user's wallet. Because the way by which we create governance on the ZAO is we do a scan of the XRP ledger, and through that scan, we determine the proportion of your voting power and the proportion of profits and losses in the DAO. So what we'll do in this case is similar to what we do with exchanges. Scanning the XRP ledger doesn't let us know how much XRP our users have on an exchange. So we have to work directly with the exchange to make that determination and then create the proper amount of governance tokens for the member. The F-Asset system is essentially, I look at it as kind of like a decentralized repository or custody for the exchange. So I don't see that as more than just a technical issue, but that would be our goal to make sure that
I can tell you how to do it really simply. So the XRP ledger address that that is associated with the DAO can simply send a memo transaction that specifies a Flare address where they hold their FXRP. Then you can have a very simple smart contract on Flare that proves that memo transaction and takes the sum of the XRP held on the XRP ledger plus the FXRP held on Flare and apportions them a power within the DAO. So not hard to achieve, and using Flare's data protocols and smart contracts to do it without any human in the loop.
I think the tricky part, Hugo, is going to be how we then take that information, but break it down to each individual member. Because
depending on what their address is, you can do it per address.
Yep. No, it's so again, like, I think we're going to have a solution, and that's on our roadmap to implement. Oh yeah, for sure. Because I'm going to be one of those. I'm excited about
that. Guys, we are uniting. This is amazing. I love this. We could work together. That sounds like a really hard.
You could even use Flare's data capabilities to add people from other networks to your DAO, like Stellar or Bitcoin, or whichever network you want, depending on what asset they're holding where. So because that gives you the ability to account the balances held at whatever address on whatever chain the Flare is connected to.
Wow, that's a good idea.
I love this. This is great. I just got so excited because a lot of us were wondering, are we gonna have to put our XRP here and just leave it in the DAO? Wonder, but we want to.
Awesome, folks. Let's check this out over here. This is XRP's yield potential exposed from the Wolf of All Streets. Awesome. This is Hugo over here. Highlight intro. Changing XRP's narrative from payments to token to yield asset. Yeah, Flare overview. How is it the best and unique prospect out there? Let's look at it from over here.
Obviously, I think there's a sentiment among many that XRP was meant to be a specific token for cross-border payments, fast and cheap. I think that has changed over time, and there's a lot of people building things with Ripple and on XRP, and you are one of them. So maybe start with why you decided to build there and what's happening with that chain that allows you to.
Absolutely. So hi, I'll introduce myself. I'm Hugo, co-founder of Flare Network. Flare is its own dedicated layer one, focused around data protocols, really heavily decentralizing data protocols. And we use those data protocols, at least in the first outing, as in the first set of products that are coming to Flare, to essentially unlock the DeFi capabilities of tokens like XRP. Although we won't be stopping there, but we're very focused on XRP because we think it's been ignored for DeFi purposes for a very, very long time. So although we're not building directly on the XRP ledger, we are building what we think of as sort of the strongest DeFi offering for XRP. And that's because we're an EVM-based network, which means that builders can slot into Flare very, very easily. And we think that being able to liberate what is currently around $150 billion of value and bring it to DeFi on Flare is a very useful value proposition.
I assume when people talk about bringing XRP to DeFi, you're really talking about finding a yield, correct?
Yeah, finding a yield or using your XRP to remain long, but get yield on other assets.
So what does that look like for someone who's holding XRP and wants to put it to work?
So for instance, just like a basic thing, like having something like Maker or for XRP, whereby you can use your XRP as collateral to create a stablecoin. You can take that stablecoin, buy another asset with it, or put it into a DEX or a lending pool, get yield on it. Somewhere you're able to essentially transform an asset that doesn't have yield into an asset that does have yield. Now, Jesus from Firelight is building a much more complex product than Maker, much more interesting product, and I'll let him introduce that when he's ready. But just being able to get yield on your XRP or transform that asset into a different essentially a different set of risk exposures is quite useful and interesting.
I want to go to you, Jesus. It's funny because we've met before as Jesus from Into the Block. Which still exists. I used to do a lot of work with Into the Block.
You did. You were one of
you guys used to
early-
contribute weekly to my newsletter. It was absolutely amazing, and I miss you dearly. Maybe we should have another conversation at some point because it was absolutely great. But obviously,
Now, folks, as far as the title goes, why the banks, governments, and institutions are interested in Flare Network. Check this out. Flare's institutional-grade features and decentralized Oracle system, folks.
for that, and I guess the secondary question is, does that indicate that there are a lot of institutions that own a lot of XRP?
Okay, so yes, I think, look, we talk about institutions, but obviously there's a big retail holding of XRP and of Bitcoin and all the other non-yielding assets, all of which we're very interested in, and we're very interested in bringing those retail people to Flare. So I wanted to caveat the question with that. But specifically for institutions, I think it's, one of the things we've been working on at Flare for a long time is around data. Now, we think that decentralization gives you better data, like hardcore decentralization. We have baked in two Oracle systems, one for state and one for prices, into the network itself. So the validators provide the prices, and every price is provided for by the entire set of validators. This means that Flare, at least when providing really important data with regards to a trade or a liquidation price, it is completely neutral. And you can't necessarily say that about other Oracle systems, right? Because they don't have 100 entities each contributing to the price. And so we think that the neutrality of the decentralization that Flare offers makes it a very, very good fit for institutions who really, really don't want to put billions and billions of dollars on the line against an Oracle that, can be controlled, of which they have no recourse because it is a decentralized network. So, that's our take. That's where we're going with the technology. We think that decentralization actually fits institutions better than centralization. So that's kind of where we're going. And does that imply that a lot of institutions hold XRP? Absolutely. Whether they hold it as a prop investment or they're holding it on behalf of retail customers, that's the way it works.
That makes perfect sense.
So, folks, what do you guys think about Flare Network? Do you think that it is all about institutions, governments, and banks? I would really like your opinions. Do hit the comment box below and let the community know. Anyways, guys, this was it for the video. If you liked it, make sure to like, share, comment, subscribe, and hit the notification icon if you're interested in utility coins and potential gems. And you can also support the channel by checking out Patreon by following the link in the description box below. Until next time, stay blessed and stay tuned. Thank you very much, everyone.